Yes, today we are beginning a new chapter, that is chapter number 4 on definitions. Let's see the different definitions that we come across in a documentary credit and what it is. We'll go actually into the depth of documentary credit and all the definitions, all the names that we come across in a documentary credit. This is a very useful chapter which we are taking up today. So here the main learning objective would be to know the main responsibilities of an applicant and a beneficiary. Who is an applicant? He is also known as the importer, the buyer, the consignee, the drawee. And who is the beneficiary? The exporter, the shipper, the drawer, the consigner. So these are all the two important responsibilities of an applicant and beneficiary. These are the responsibilities. Let's see what we are going to do in this chapter under UCP 600, Uniform Customs and Practice for Documentary Credits, and the version is 600. And documentary credit, in fact, if I would say, we will be concerned with only two parties, and that is the issuing bank and the beneficiary. All others will be outside our purview. But issuing bank and beneficiary, they are the two main parties that we will be concerned with in a documentary credit. Now, there are 39 articles in UCP 600, and Article 2 in fact talks about all the definitions. Article 2 talks about all the definitions. The first important definition we would like to know is about an issuing bank. Because the issuing bank is the bank that issues a credit at the request of an applicant, at the request of an applicant or on its own behalf. This is a very crucial word, on its own behalf. See, sometimes what happens, let us say the issuing bank is State Bank. The bank itself may be importing some goods. So in such a case, the bank itself is the applicant and the bank itself is the issuing bank. It's like playing a double role. So Article 2 defines an issuing bank, the bank that issues a credit. Credit is nothing but your empty 700. Instead of calling it as a documentary credit, we just use the word credit. My Article 1 very clearly says, instead of saying the Uniform Customs and Practice, we say three words, UCP. Similarly, instead of using the word documentary credits, we use the word credit. So let's look into this. Issuing bank, it's also known as the opening bank. It issues in favor of the beneficiary. So it incorporates, the issuing bank incorporates an irrevocable independent undertaking. This word irrevocable is given in our field 40A. See, there are various fields in MT 700. And the first field that we come across is the 40A, where we mention the word irrevocable. Or if it is a standby, or if it is a transferable, we use these words in those fields. So finally, we will have to link all the articles with the fields in the LC, and for examination of documents, we have to take up our ISBP. So all the three are the three corners of a triangle. ISBP on one side, UCP 600 on another side, and all the fields of our MT 700. We need to interlink all the three in order to examine a documentary credit. So, and as I told you, this word honor always encompasses three words. That is to pay at sight, or to accept a draft, pay at maturity, or to incur a deferred payment undertaking and pay at maturity. Now in detail we will be studying about what is a deferred payment, what is acceptance, all this we will be studying in settlement methods. We will be doing that. But there is a condition by the issuing bank, provided all the documents stipulated in the documentary credit are complied with. So the beneficiary has to present a compliant presentation, and he has complied with all the terms and conditions of the documentary credit. Only when the beneficiary has complied, then he is assured that an irrevocable undertaking is given by the issuing bank, that they will honor, issuing bank will honor. So this is very important that the beneficiary has complied with all the terms and conditions of the documentary credit. So irrevocable undertaking is enforceable against which bank? Issuing bank. even if the applicant is unable to reimburse or he is unwilling to reimburse, who has given the undertaking? Issuing bank. So it should be noted from UCP definition, this is very rare, undertaken is once given by the issuing bank, then definitely the payment will be honored by the issuing bank. So issuing bank will have two roles, one as the applicant, another as the issuing bank. Those were the two roles which I have told you on its own behalf. Next, Article 2 defines what is a beneficiary. Who is a beneficiary? So first we finished with issuing bank, now we will go to a beneficiary. Beneficiary means the party in whose favor the credit is issued, in whose favor, after the shipment of the goods or dispatch of the goods, or the service has been rendered or the performance has been done, the beneficiary will collate all the documents and present it to the issuing bank. If there is an intermediary bank, that is maybe a bank has confirmed the LC, a confirming bank, or even the nominated bank which we have nominated in the LC. So the beneficiary can present the document direct to the issuing bank, or they can send it through the nominated bank, confirming bank, and then the issuing bank. Yes. Who is an advising bank? The advising bank is the bank that advises the credit at the request of the issuing bank. And usually, we electronically we transmit all the messages, that is through SFMS, Structured Financial Messaging System. Or sometimes we send the documents to the beneficiary's bank in the beneficiary's country. So it maintains corresponding banking relationship. So these are all the banks that we come across in our LC transaction, in our credit transaction. Issuing bank, advising bank, nominated bank, confirming bank, claiming bank, reimbursing bank, transferring bank. All these we will have to go through these chapters in order to know in detail the role, responsibility, the risk of all the banks. So this is about an advising bank. So the transmission of a documentary credit to an advising bank, generally issuing bank sends 7700, and it can also be sent by telex, fax, email or a letter, depending upon the arrangements that are in place. Depending upon the arrangements. So earlier it was being sent by telex or fax or mail, but now the SWIFT is in operation, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. So that is how SWIFT messages, 7700 messages are sent. Article 2 also says who is a confirming bank. The bank that adds confirmation to a credit upon the issuing bank's authorization or request. These two words are very key words for us, authorization or request. So the bank that adds its confirmation to a documentary credit upon authorization or request of an issuing bank, provided once the confirming bank adds confirmation, confirming bank is a definite undertaking to the beneficiary. This is in addition to issuing bank, and that is again irrevocable. So irrevocable, independent undertaking. Confirming bank also gives an irrevocable, independent undertaking that is separate from the issuing bank. Yes. Then confirming bank, sometimes the advising bank or nominated bank, they can act. Once if they confirm, they can act in the confirming bank. So the advising bank can be a confirming bank, a nominated bank can be a confirming bank, the bank that adds confirmation. But this is not an absolute requirement of under UCP 600. It's not an absolute requirement. So let's see next what is the nominated bank. The bank with which the credit is available. So where the credit is available, because the beneficiary would like to know where can I take my documents and the credit to which bank in his own country, the nominated bank. Or it can be any bank where the credit is available with any bank. So Article 2 defines who is a nominated bank. The nominated bank means the bank with which the credit is available, or any bank in the case of a credit available with any bank. Yes. Next, an issuing bank at the request of an applicant, usually at the request of an applicant, or maybe every bank has its own internal policy. They may make a documentary credit available. So there is available with and available by. Available by is a settlement method. See, there are two different words. Available with, available by. Available with means where the credit is available. With which bank? It can be a specified bank or it can be any bank in the beneficiary's country. Available by is a settlement method where it is available by side payment, deferred payment, acceptance, negotiation. These are the 4 words which we come across in our LC transaction, in our documentary credit transaction. Very, very important keywords. And generally the nominated bank will be located in the country of the beneficiary. So where is the nominated bank located? In the country of the beneficiary. A documentary credit may also be available with any bank. So then if it is with a specified bank, it is restricted. When it is any bank, the beneficiary has a choice to walk into any bank. And there is also an expiry place. There is a field 31D where you will say date and place of expiry. You will give an expiry date and you will also give a place where the credit expires. In which event it will be the bank where located the place. Next, we will also see the nominated bank is a very important bank for the beneficiary. So a bank that agrees to act, even though the issuing bank has nominated, there is no obligation on the nominated bank to accept the request or authorization. He must be ready to act, expressly communicate to the beneficiary that I will act on nomination. That is to pay, accept or incur a deferred payment or negotiate. Then he will be saying, I am known as a nominated bank if he is ready to act. So a documentary credit could be made available with issuing bank also, because a credit available with a nominated bank is also available with issuing bank. So in that case there will be no nominated bank because the credit is available with issuing bank. So the beneficiary will be required to ensure that all the documents stipulated are sent to the issuing bank directly and no later than the expiry date. Latest date of presentation. So what is presentation? Delivery of documents under a credit to the nominated bank or issuing bank. Or we say documents so delivered. In Article 2, this word presentation is a very familiar word. So a named nominated bank will also be an advising bank. But it is not necessary. Advising bank can also be a nominated bank. Any bank can do a role. So Article 2 defines who is an applicant, the importer or the buyer, the party on whose request the credit is issued, and although an applicant is responsible for completing the full documentary credit application form or even to send an amendment, everything is completed by the applicant. But the applicant is not a party, because once the application is handed over to the issuing bank, who has taken over the responsibility? Issuing bank. Irrevocable undertaking is given by the issuing bank. So the credit is in favor of the beneficiary. Contract is between the seller and the buyer. Credit is between the issuing bank and the beneficiary. So contract is separate, credit is separate. So applicant is not a party to the documentary credit. The use of the term party, can you see the word party? He is outside the purview, because once he has given the application form, his role is over. We take care of the credit facility, the collaterals, ensure that everything is maintained, margin. Tomorrow when the documents come and it is a compliant presentation, we can debit the applicant's account. So, applicant or the buyer or the importer, interaction between applicant and the bank before the issue of UCP 600, that is not there for us. Only after the LC is issued we are talking about. Prior to issue of LC, we are not talking in our chapters. We will only talk about after the issuance of MT 700. So, because later he may request an amendment. If any changes are to be done, then an amendment will be sent. MT 707 will be sent. Or applicant may, if there are any discrepancies, he may have to give a waiver, and that waiver should be acceptable to the issuing bank. Even though the applicant may accept the discrepancies, but who has to accept all the discrepancies? The issuing bank. Because the sole judgment lies with the issuing bank in accepting the discrepancies. Issuing bank is under no obligation. Issuing bank is under no obligation to accept or take note or a request from the applicant may have given the waiver, but the issuing bank is under no obligation. So, Article 13A talks about reimbursing bank. So the bank that reimburses to the nominated bank or the claiming bank is the reimbursing bank. Nominated bank which has negotiated the documents and then sent the documents to the issuing bank, then later there is a claim. So it's a claiming bank. So it may claim for the amount which he has credited to the beneficiary's account. So in some cases, you know, there is a second advising bank. The first advising bank will use the services of another bank. Maybe it is a beneficiary's preferred bank. That is a second advising bank and to advise the creditor on any amendment. So in chapter number 9 on advising bank, we will be studying about first advising bank, second advising bank, all that even in article 9. Article 9 talks about first advising bank and second advising bank. Article 7 talks about issuing bank. Article 8 talks about confirming bank. Article 13 talks about reimbursing bank. Article 12 talks about nominated bank. So like this we talk about different banks in different articles. Amendments we talk about in Article 10. So all this is what happens in UCP 600, all these articles, how we go about. So second advising bank may advise the credit to the beneficiary and that may be the beneficiary's preferred banker. So the issuing bank may not have a direct correspondent relationship. So we have sent it through our bank where we have the correspondent banking relationship and advise it through second advising bank. Maybe our own branch is there. So we will send it to our own branch. That will be the first advising bank. Or we have a comfortable correspondent banking relationship. So we will send it to first advising bank. Then there is another bank called a transferring bank. In the case of an LC where the first beneficiary is only a trader. He is not a manufacturer. He may transfer the LC to actual person who is supplying the goods. So Article 38B defines a transferring bank, the nominated bank that transfers the credit. Suppose a credit is available with any bank, then the issuing bank has to specifically authorize which bank is to effect the transfer of the credit. Then that is the transferring bank. So transferring bank transfers the credit. So what are the terms used in documentary credits under UCP 600? Very common terms are the banking day, that is Article 2 says the day on which a bank is regularly opened at the place to which an act subject to these rules is to be performed. So what is a banking day? A day on which a bank is regularly opened, where at the place at which an act subject to these rules is to be performed. Maybe it is a holiday in another state, but it may not be a holiday in our state. So it is a banking day. So banking day, Article 2 defines what is a banking day. Then regularly open means, it means Monday to Friday. Sometimes it's also open on a Saturday for general banking purpose. But Saturday is not considered as a banking day for UCP purposes. Saturday is not considered as a banking day for UCP purposes. However, the same will open on Saturday for a half a day or a full day to perform the handling of documentary credit, then you count it as a bank. If you are permitted to handle documentary credits, then only you take it as a banking day. Next, compliant presentation. Article 2 talks about what is a compliant presentation. A presentation that is in accordance with terms and conditions of a credit, applicable provision of these rules, and ISBP. Because ISBP we need to know from letter A to letter Q to examine the documents. So all the three put together comes under compliant presentation. So International Standard Banking Practice is now the existing version is ISBP 745. It is a supplement to UCP 600. So this is compliant presentation and it also extends to ICC opinions, doctex decisions which can equally be described. Article 2 says what is confirmation? Definite undertaking given by the confirming bank in addition to that of the issuing bank. And when we say issuing bank, we always use the word honor. But when we say confirming bank, we use both the word honor or negotiate. When we say nominated bank, we use the word negotiation. For confirming bank, we use both the words because confirming bank gives an irrevocable undertaking to the beneficiary to honor if it is available by side payment, deferred payment, acceptance. Because honor, again I said three words. But if the credit is available with confirming bank and available by negotiation, then confirming bank will definitely use the word negotiate. That is why for confirming bank we use both the words honor or negotiate. Okay. So who is given the request? or authorization issuing bank. Generally, request or authorization comes from issuing bank to add confirmation. And the beneficiary may request the applicant to add confirmation, and he may even bear the charges. Then we use the word may add. So an authorization is actually an instruction upon a specific request of the beneficiary. So the request is coming from beneficiary. Authorization is going from issuing bank to the advising bank. Authorization is going from issuing bank. Request is coming from beneficiary. When the beneficiary is ready to bear the charges, then we use the word may add. In field number 49, confirmation instructions, we use the word may add. So otherwise generally we use confirm or add your confirmation. Then article 2 says what is a credit? Any arrangement, however named or described. However named, as I told you, we come across different types of credit which we will be talking about. Clean credit, irrevocable, revocable, then installment credit, revolving credit, reinstatement credit, advance red letter clause, green letter. So all credits, whatever name, and it is irrevocable. Because today all documentary credits are irrevocable, even if there is no indication to that effect. This we come across in Article 3 of UCP. A documentary credit is irrevocable, even if there is no indication to that effect. So, Article 4A very clearly states the autonomy. Autonomy is of paramount importance because the credit is separate, the contract is separate. So, Article 4A emphasizes on autonomy of documentary credit. Similarly, honor is, I said 3 words. To pay at sight, if it is available by sight payment. To incur a deferred payment undertaking, pay at maturity if the credit is available by deferred payment. To accept a bill of exchange is also known as a draft drawn by the beneficiary, pay at maturity if credit is available by acceptance. And in detail we will be going through these settlement methods in the chapter 7 and 17. Yes. So the term honor encompasses 3 types of settlement. Negotiation. This is a wonderful word which we come across because in entire our documentary credit, honor, negotiation are the 2 sides of the coin which we talk about. What is negotiation? It is nothing but purchase by the nominated bank. What does the nominated bank purchase? He will either purchase draft, he will either purchase document, or he will purchase draft and document. And if he has to purchase a draft, it will be drawn on a bank other than the nominated bank because I cannot purchase my own draft. So draft means it is drawn on a bank other than the nominated bank. So purchase of draft and documents or purchase of documents. And when does the nominated bank get the reimbursement? Only on the maturity date, on or before the banking day on which reimbursement is due to the nominated bank. So what does the nominated bank do? He will advance funds to the beneficiary.